People have called this one of the most terrifying experiences a human can have. A waking nightmare that feels, well, more real than reality itself. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and unlock the science behind that terrifying borderland between sleep and consciousness. Sleep paralysis. For so many people, it starts with just this single, chilling thought. It's a primal sense of dread that just washes over you in the dark. You feel a presence, right? A malevolent awareness just fixed on you from the shadows of your own room. And this is where the real terror kicks in. Because as far as you're concerned, you're awake. Your mind has flicked on. Look, this isn't some weird dream landscape. That's your own bed, your walls, your furniture. Your brain is processing real stuff. You know you're here. You are completely, totally conscious. And that's when the panic starts to creep in, right? You try to sit up, to roll over, to even lift a finger, anything to confront that feeling of dread. Your brain is screaming at your body to do something. And nothing. Your muscles just don't respond. You're a prisoner in your own body, a conscious mind totally awake, trapped inside a shell that will not move. You try to scream, but you can't even make a sound. It's that total physical helplessness that really is the heart of the horror. But here is what is so wild about this. If you felt this, you are not the first. Not by a long shot. I mean, this experience is so deeply human, it's been documented for thousands of years, with basically every culture on Earth coming up with a name for the thing they believed was behind it. And what's just fascinating and kind of creepy is how consistent the stories are. From the old hag in Newfoundland to the Karabasan in Turkey, the story is almost always the same. Some kind of supernatural being is holding you down, pinning you to your bed. I mean, think about it. Before we had neuroscience, what else could you possibly think was happening? Okay, so what is really going on here? Well, it's not a demon. It's more like a biological glitch, a kind of perfect storm happening inside your brain that creates the absolute ideal conditions for something that feels supernatural. So let's break down the science. The actual scientific definition is surprisingly simple. Sleep paralysis is what's called a dissociated state. It's basically a mistimed transition. Your brain's consciousness switch flips to on, but it does it before your body's paralysis switch from dream sleep flips to off. You're literally caught in the crossfire between being awake and being asleep. So let's look at this hybrid state in action. You've got your waking mind, which gives you awareness and lets you see what's really there. But you've also got your REM sleep state still running in the background, contributing that muscle paralysis and, this is the key, dream imagery. What this means is your brain is basically dreaming while you're awake, projecting these nightmarish images right into your real-world bedroom. Okay, but how does a simple brain glitch create such specific, and let's be honest, terrifying hallucinations? Why does it feel like almost everyone sees and feels the same kinds of things? Let's break down how your own mind literally builds these monsters from scratch. First up, that feeling. It's the most common part of the whole experience. That unshakable certainty that somebody else is in the room with you. It feels so incredibly real, but where on earth is it coming from? It all comes down to this really interesting two-step process. First, your brain recognizes, hey, I can't move, and it panics. This fires up your fear center, a little part of your brain called the amygdala. But your brain hates a vacuum. It needs a reason for that intense fear. So what does it do? It invents one. It projects a threat out into the room to explain the terror it's already feeling. All right, next up, the classic incubus hallucination. That awful feeling of a heavy weight on you, like you're being crushed or suffocated. This one feeling is responsible for centuries of stories about demons sitting on people's chests. The reality is actually pretty fascinating. See, during REM sleep, your brain paralyzes your voluntary muscles so you don't, start sleepwalking or acting out your dreams. And that includes the main muscles in your chest you use to breathe. So when your mind wakes up and you try to take a deep, panicked breath, your chest doesn't really expand. Your panicked brain misinterprets that feeling. It doesn't think, oh, my muscles are paralyzed. It thinks something is crushing me. And then, of course, there are the sounds, the whispers, the footsteps, that weird static noise that seems to fill the room, making that presence feel even more real and way more menacing. Well, that's just your brain's auditory cortex going haywire. It's getting all these panic signals from the amygdala, and it starts to generate sounds that match the horror movie your brain thinks it's in. It's literally creating a custom horror soundtrack, and it's often tailored to your own personal fears. Creepy, right? So, just understanding the science is a huge first step to taking away the fear. Now, let's get practical. Let's look at just how common this is, what triggers it, and most importantly, what you can do to take back control.
First things first, if this has happened to you, you are absolutely not alone. Studies show that around 8% of everybody will experience this at least once in their lives. Turns out, it's a surprisingly common quirk of our human brain wiring.
But check this out. That number just skyrockets in certain groups. For students, it jumps to almost 30%, probably because of high stress and crazy sleep schedules. And for people who have narcolepsy, which is a disorder where REM sleep is unstable, it can be as high as 80%. What this tells us is there's a super clear link between a disrupted sleep schedule and the likelihood of experiencing sleep paralysis. So it makes sense that the biggest triggers are anything that messes with your sleep-wake cycles. High stress, being sleep deprived, a chaotic schedule, all these things make that brain glitch we talked about way more likely. And here's a weird one. For some reason, sleeping on your back seems to be a major trigger for a lot of people, maybe because of how it affects your breathing.
Okay, so this all leads to some simple but really powerful ways to fight back. The best defense is just good sleep habits. Go to bed around the same time, try to manage your stress. And if you know you're prone to this, maybe try sleeping on your side. And here's a pro tip. If it happens, don't try to fight your whole body. It's not going to work. Instead, focus all of your mental energy on moving just one tiny thing, like a single toe or a finger. A lot of times, that one tiny little breakthrough is enough to snap the connection and wake your body up.
When it all comes down to it, this is the most important thing to remember. Fear just thrives on the unknown. By understanding that this isn't some supernatural attack, but a predictable, explainable hiccup in your brain, you strip away its power. Knowledge really is your best defense here.
But I'll leave you with one final thought. It's one thing to understand the science in the bright light of day. It's a whole different story when you wake up at 3 a.m., you can't move, and you have that gut feeling that you are absolutely not alone. The real question is, could you stay calm and conquer your own brain's perfect storm?